Tonight through Sunday, prepare to laugh out loud remembering the world's favorite and funniest centenarian, George Burns. His spirit is alive and kicking on stage at the 710 Main Theater, thanks to our next guest, Alan Safier, who brings to life Burns' fascinating story in the Tony-nominated show Goodnight Gracie, part of the Fry Electric season. Good morning, Alan.
Hi,
so nice
Linda.
to have you here.
You know what? Not only am I bringing laughter, but I also brought the spring weather with me from New York City.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
we really needed it up here. It's been one heck of a winter.
And I noticed it's going to rain the day I leave.
Yeah, of course.
So,
that's perfect timing.
Yeah,
but
really
you know what?
nice.
It never rains inside of the theater.
Unless you wanted to.
That's true.
Unless you're just singing in the rain.
Yeah. Well, we're not doing that.
No rain. No rain in this show.
You were a fan of George Burns as a kid, right?
Yeah, I loved George Burns. I mean, and it was one of those things where everybody would always say, you know, Gracie's the funny one, Gracie. But for some reason, I don't know, I gravitated towards his humor. I thought he was really funny and kind of dry, and it just appealed to me. And I loved on the TV show, remember he had the TV set up in his den, and he knew exactly what was going on? I thought that was so funny. And really, now that I look at it as an adult, what a breakthrough.
Oh, yeah.
For the 50s?
Yeah, amazing.
You know, the fact that he talked to the camera, he looked right in the lens and talked to people, nobody
broke that wall back then.
No.
And you know, even into his 90s, when he did the movie Dear God, I mean,
Oh God.
Oh God. I mean, he was the only person to pull that off successfully and not offend anybody.
Right, yeah.
It was great. I mean, he was so vital and meaningful right up until we didn't have him anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know, when he did the Sunshine Boys and he won the Oscar when he was 80 years old,
Can you
he
imagine?
had about a 10-year period after Gracie died before he did Sunshine Boys, which, by the way, was an accident because it was supposed to be Jack Benny.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and Jack Benny got sick, and he said, you have to cast George. And that was the beginning of his second career.
And amazing, amazing. Yeah. We have some video of the show. Look at you, transformed into George Burns. And the nice thing, Alan, is that we have your impersonation, your characterization, but we have pictures, and we have the voice of Diddy Khan. And there's a lot going on stage.
Yeah, we have a lot of film clips, not only from the TV show, but from some of their features, and they did shorts before that, and then later on, there's a really cute sketch with George and Jack Benny on maybe some TV special or something that's really cute. A lot of still photographs, and then we have Diddy Khan just in voiceover, and we recreate their first radio show.
It's incredible. That is incredible.
And it's his whole life.
Is this hard to do? It's a one-man show. It all really sits on your shoulders. The cues and making sure it all works, you know.
Well, Michael, my stage manager, takes care of the cues. So I don't have to worry about that. But, you know, being on stage, for me, I think every actor is different. When I first decided to do this show, and I told some of my actor friends I was doing a one-person show, I was surprised at the reaction, because I would say half of them said, oh, I could never do that. And to me, it feels like actor heaven to be out there by myself. So it depends, I guess, on the actor, but I really like it.
And you know, you're so much younger, Alan. You could play this for 40 more years. Look at you. You're just a kid compared to George Burns.
Yeah, well, compared to a 100-year-old, everybody's a kid.
But it's amazing. I mean, do you find that you're still learning about this man? Even after all this time that you've played him, that you're still picking up nuances of...
Oh, yeah, and just learning facts about his life, too. But just playing him every night and getting to be inside of his skin, which is a wonderful place to be. And having the love. I've never done a role where I walked out on stage and in the first 30 seconds I can feel the love from the audience. I mean, it's really wonderful. But you know, anything that I can read about George Burns and Gracie Allen, of course I devour it, and I'm always finding out new things.
You're going to love our Buffalo audiences, because they are so appreciative and they love good theater, and you're going to feel that right away. How long are you on the road with this show? Where do you go next?
Next, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Green Bay, and No, actually, next is Waukegan, which is Jack Benny's hometown.
Oh, yeah.
Which I've been trying to do for years, and they finally got this time and the space for us. So I know that Waukegan's going to love it because there's so much about Jack Benny. I tell so many funny stories about Jack Benny because, you know, they were like that.
Yeah, yeah. It was a certain time in Hollywood for actors like that, because it's funny because we were talking about, both of us, our love for radio, because Alan was also a very, very famous voiceover artist, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But when they came out in front of an audience, a lot of what they were doing was ad-libbing, when in the day you didn't do that. Like we were saying, George Burns made that invisible wall disappear and talk to the audience. We talk to the audience. It's very different from what a lot of actors do and a lot of TV people do. Yeah,
right, yeah. And you know, when they started out in vaudeville as a team, now George Burns had already been a 10th grade song and dance man for 15 years, imagine, before he met Gracie. And when they started working together as a team, he was the dizzy character and she was the straight man.
Wow.
And at one point, George said, you know what? You're still getting all the laughs, even though you're the straight man. I think maybe you're the funny one. Let's switch roles.
He said he had an easy job because all he used to say is, Gracie, how's your brother? He goes,
right,
she could go for the next 20 minutes
that's
on
the
stage.
joke in the show. But of course, that's not true.
Right.
Because, first of all, George thought of the character. George wrote the act. And what George did was not, he just didn't feed her straight lines.
Right.
But that was part of his shtick, was to downgrade his role and build her up.
And weren't they just perfect together?
They were perfect together.
She could do exactly what he wanted her to do, and it was magic.
That's the amazing thing is, you know, he wrote the material, of course, but it was her performance. And, you know, she was really a really good actor. Yeah. She really was. Even if you watch the TV show as much as I do, one Antenna TV or somebody shows it twice a day, and I TiVo it, and I'm always watching it. There was one show where she was hypnotized into being the smartest person in the world, and she went on some quiz show and won all this money. But you can see what a good actor she was because she's immediately switched roles.
Yeah, you know, you just cannot replace a Jack Benny or George Burns, you know. But when you're not doing this, you have made some very famous characters come to life. We want to let people know what you're also responsible for when we don't see your face.
You're talking about probably the Kibbles and Bits dog, right? Yes, I did those commercials with the dogs, and it was me, Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees, and Joe Pantoliano.
No kidding.
And it was, we're running mean, boss, we're running lean. Kibbles and Bits lean, Kibbles and Bits lean.
To this day, my dog sees that commercial and keeps looking up.
Yeah. And, you know, it was for 7 years, so that was a really nice...
yes, those are nice paydays.
A nice annuity.
That's a nice account.
Yeah.
Well,
I still get those
the nice
26, well, the 26-cent checks.
Yeah, wherever it's airing now. But listen, Alan, we're so thrilled to have you on stage as George Burns. Please, everybody, don't miss this because he won't be here long. Hopefully, you'll get to see Niagara Falls before you head up to Waukegan.
Oh, I'm going to see all the sights.
Yeah, see it all. And everybody go and see, because this was really the golden age of stage and the beginning of TV. And George had such an incredible career. It's so great to bring him back in Alan Safier. We're so lucky to have him. 710 Main Street, this is where you're going to see it. It's a nice intimate theater. Say Goodnight Gracie. It's now through Sunday. Take mom and dad. Mom and dad, take your adult kids who will remember him for sure.
And you know what, the teenagers and the 20-somethings, they really love the show because for them it's a discovery. Yeah. And I have kids come up to me after the show and they say, I'm going to go Google and I'm going to
find this guy.
I'm going to look at the TV show.
Here's your tickets, everybody. 1-800-745-3000 or Ticketmaster.com before it sells out.